and bringing your expertise to our conversation. Now we move on to our next story. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has called for national unity amid escalating Israeli strikes, urging all factions to set aside differences and stand together against what he called genocidal aggression. These statements come as Iran launched a fresh salvo of missiles on Israel, striking Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem in the early hours of Monday. Israel's emergency services confirmed 4 dead and over 70 injured. One residential building in Haifa was hit directly. Sirens wailed as families took shelter in bunkers and subways. Fire broke out near a power plant in northern Israel. Missiles breached Israel's Iron Dome, damaging residential blocks in central cities. Iran's Revolutionary Guard say the strikes successfully hit targets in Israel. Officials warn of more devastating attacks to come. In response, Israel's Air Force struck Iran's Quds Force headquarters in Tehran. These sites were reportedly used to plan operations through proxies. The Israeli military also confirmed strikes on surface-to-surface missile sites in central Iran. IDF jets remain active over Iranian airspace. Israel says the intelligence chief of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, Mohammed Kazemi, was killed in a targeted strike. Tehran says 224 people have died in Israeli strikes since Friday, most of them being civilians. Iran has accused Israel of attacking its foreign ministry. It says it will not negotiate under fire. The region remains on high alert. The European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Iran must never acquire nuclear weapons. After speaking to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, she expressed and stressed both sides agree on that. She added a negotiated solution remains the best long-term path for peace. Here's what Ursula von der Leyen has said.
Iran should never acquire nuclear weapons. So in the call with Prime Minister Netanyahu, he described the situation. We were both, of course, aligned in the fact that Iran should not have nuclear weapons without any question. Of course, I think a negotiated solution is, in the long term, the best solution.
Meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump, before departing for the G7 summit, said Iran and Israel may need to fight it out before a deal can be reached, though he maintained that Washington continues to support Israel's right to defend itself. Here's what the U.S. President has said.
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens, but sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Have you asked Israel to pause their airstrikes into Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that.
A senior U.S. official confirmed Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei. French President Emmanuel Macron dismissed the idea of Russia mediating, citing Moscow's ongoing violations in Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Macron have also said their countries did not participate in Israel's operations against Iran. Here's what Starmer has said.
Northern Iran is centrepiece, and this provides the opportunity to talk to our co-leaders about the fast-moving situation and to make our strong case together that there must be de-escalation of this conflict in the interests of the region and of course.
Now we have guests joining us for this discussion. Jayant Krishna, Senior Fellow from Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you, Jayant, for joining us today. Welcome to NewsX World. How serious is the threat of regional war following Israel's strikes and Iran's retaliation now? And what would escalation mean for global terror networks?
It's the war is entering a deadly phase. As I've always said, that nobody ever wins a war, and the entire international community have to persuade both Israel and Iran to back off from a dangerous war that could be a huge drag. See, Israel initially started with some airstrikes against Iran. They initially targeted the nuclear facilities, then the military establishments, and finally, they have also attacked the oil and gas refineries. Iran obviously has also retaliated with missile strikes. So I think it's very unfortunate, and more unfortunate because this has happened at a time when Iran and US were negotiating, about the future of Tehran's nuclear program. And if you look at neither the International Agency, Atomic Energy Agency, nor the US Director of National Intelligence have said with any evidence that Iran has an atomic bomb, and of course the International Atomic Energy Agency has said that Iran is not providing full data. So I think it is a very unfortunate situation that this has happened, and we all see a very helpless United Nations, and they have become rather ineffective. So I think the powers that be, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has already condemned Israel, and largely the two powerful countries there being China and Russia. India is somehow very non-committal so far, and it has neither backed the SCO resolution, nor did it back the UN move earlier, asking Israel to end the war in Gaza. So I think it's really unfortunate, and eventually, if it is not stopped, it will have a major impact not only on the oil pricing, international oil pricing. The trade routes will be adversely affected, the airspace, sea routes, everything will be affected. So I think sanity should prevail, and all nations, although Israel does have a tactical support from the US, but all nations must ensure that this war does not become a drag, because as I said earlier, nobody ever wins a war.
And then now we have seen Israel and Iran's tension it has been boiling for a while now. And how is the new wave of strikes different from the past confrontations between Israel and Iran?
So from whatever information we have as of now, I think the intensity of strikes has increased, and earlier, as I said, the prime target were nuclear facilities and military establishments. Now, in the latest round, Israel has also targeted the oil and gas refineries, and some of the buildings in Israel, which Iran had hit back, also had normal residents and normal citizens residing there. So I think, becomes very difficult to draw the boundaries when such a war is happening. And civilian casualties also happen, and in this case also it has happened on both sides. So I think, as I said, it is doing no good to either of these two countries or the region. And at a time when the Russia-Ukraine war is far from over, the world can ill afford such a huge degree of hostilities between Israel and Iran. And so I think every sane statesman, international leader must prevail upon both the nations to stop the war. President Trump has said that they would stop the war, giving the example of India and Pakistan. He would make them stop. But when does it stop? Timing is very important. The sooner it stops, the better, and the lesser will be the casualties, and lesser would be the damage on both sides.
Thank you very much, Jayant Krishna, for bringing your expertise from Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you very much. Now, well, that's all we have time for. We will continue to bring more news up.